I can't see it right now, and I don't like that. Hey, everyone. This is America's kick-ass career coach, Coach Mo. I'm here with one of my career breakthrough strategists. Hello, Colter. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. I am double broadcasting. I got to keep my own thing down. So we're getting used to this new way of doing things. So Colter is a career breakthrough strategist working with me since July. And of course, it's intense to talk to women all the time and to see what's going on in their lives and careers. And Colter and I thought we would talk about some big gremlins that show up that we get to see all the time on the career clarity calls that we do. And it gives us some insight as to what's going on with women's lives, right, Colter?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So in general, when you're talking to women, Colter, what are you basically hearing about their careers that they're stuck with and that they're trying to move through? What's in general? We'll get into the three specifics, but what's in general going on with them? Why are they on the call?
In general, they are lacking direction and clarity, and they're feeling discord from the inside out.
Yeah. So usually there's some type of pain that the inner body, inner voice, and the external world has kind of clashed a little bit too often, and now they're like, I can't keep doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
They're seeking, and then they've seen you, and they're grabbing for a call. They're seeking.
Right. Yes, they're seeking some type of answer to, of course, life's vexing problems, which sometimes is all about the inner being, the soul, trying to get a louder voice and say to that person, hey, it's not quite yet the right mix, the right alignment. So the way I talk about this, one of the big problems that women have in their careers is that the gremlins are way too loud. And basically the gremlins have hijacked someone's soul and taken them in this direction, taken them in that direction. And now they're like, what direction do I go in? So what's the number one, actually, let's just say what the three top gremlins are that we're talking to women about on the career clarity calls. And then we'll just go one by one on them. So what are the top three, Colter?
Top three that seem to be the overall theme of every single call. Confidence level is not where they want it to be or where it used to be.
Yeah.
And they have limiting beliefs. So they're really living from this place of fear and not from full potential and possibilities. And then they're confused on the right career path.
Right. So confidence, they're buying into their limiting beliefs, which are their stories that come from all sorts of places, and then confusion.
Right.
I wish we could come up with that limiting belief one that would be a C, because then we could have confidence, confusion, and something else with a C.
Lack of clarity.
Lack of clarity. So let's talk about the confidence one. So when women are in their jobs, in their careers, and they don't have enough confidence, some of the things that we see are they don't speak up in meetings, they get overlooked for promotions. What are some of the things that women are telling you that are happening in their lives specifically? Like just maybe think about one of the calls you may have had this week. What's really showing up that shows that that person has that gremlin, a lack of confidence going on?
So they'll have an idea at work and they don't project their voice or follow through with their idea because they're lacking that confidence in the follow through.
Yeah.
They're not stepping up and getting the raise or their promotion. Sometimes they get so complacent at a job for years and years and years. Someone new comes in a couple years in, they're fresh. They get the promotion over them because they're kind of dormant. Their confidence has been flat for some time. And really the follow through. They're not following through because they're not confident. Yeah.
You know, we just had someone in the program. I think you know who she is. I won't say, but she's an attorney. And she was working in her job for many, many years. Kind of timid. She knew she had to step into bigger, powerful her. And when she started working with me, we built up her confidence. We got her to understand who she was at a deep level. She practiced showing up on the group coaching calls in the Kick-Ass program. And she started being different at work. All of a sudden, she's getting an email from the president of the company. Hey, you're really contributing more to these meetings. It's great to get your insights. And all of a sudden, her vice president that she reported to was acknowledging and giving her credit for some great ideas and contributions also. So she's coming back into the kick-ass program group coaching calls with all of this enthusiasm. And she said, Mo, I knew it was there all along. I just didn't have the courage to say it. I was feeling like I was playing small, but I didn't have techniques and the way to do it. At around week 10, my course is a 12-week program, as you know, she gets a freaking raise. She didn't even have to ask for it. They basically said, you know what? We want to really honor your contributions, and she gets a raise. She was over the moon, totally unexpected. Hey, Peggy. So easy to get complacent. I know, Peggy. It is easy to get complacent because when we don't have our full internal power, I always call it the soul, because that's really what it is. It's that invisible beingness of us. We really lose track of who we are. We lose track of what's important. And as Peggy says here, we get complacent. And when we get complacent, our growth curve does this. And Colter, you're probably talking to women where they've hit a point where the pain is so bad. Mm-hmm. And raises and accolades from bosses are the last thing they're thinking of. They're thinking of survival. Mm-hmm. And that's usually when they're on the phone with us. So after someone has a lower level of confidence for months or years, we usually see this after decades, the limiting beliefs start to stack up and pile up. So what are the limiting beliefs that you're seeing on the women you're talking to in the clarity calls?
Some limiting beliefs are, I need to go back to school, get more education. That's a big one. Limiting beliefs, what are some other ones? That one's like a really big one. That
is a big one, especially if they're in a profession that they could kind of convince themselves, you know what, maybe my master's degree is not enough. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should go get that PhD. Or they're already doing a job like project management and they're just not where they want to be. And they're like, well, maybe if I had that certificate in project management, maybe that. And I'm not suggesting that some of these things aren't important, but they're not the reason typically that women are not advancing their careers. They might be helpful at some point, but usually it's the player over and over again. So we all know, and Colter, you and I have actually done work with a coach together. We both have gone through our own personal development and coaching. And these limiting beliefs kind of like become part of our body. They become part of our personality. See, I'm just not the type of person that would get ahead. Mm-hmm. How many times do you hear someone actually talking about it as if it's them?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more. How limiting beliefs become our personality.
Well, they become so a part of us, they kind of see, you don't even realize what limiting beliefs that you do have. A lot of women have limiting beliefs on the amount of money that they can make.
Yes.
And they kind of accepted it. It's a tape that keeps replaying in their head. Yeah. And it becomes their belief, and their belief is shaping their reality. And they don't even realize what that belief is and the effect it's having on their life.
Right.
They're so subconscious.
Yes. And the subconscious becomes the automatic player that's playing in the background. And let's dive into this a little bit because it has not only energetic components, and that's the work that you and I have done together with our buddies and sisters, Lacey Young and Kayla Floyd. Shout out to you ladies. The energy body takes all of that. Eventually it kind of hits into the physical body. Our cells actually start to believing it. And here's the interesting thing, what happens. Oh, Donna, I'm going to just dive right into what about when coworkers reinforce or start the limiting beliefs? Here's the deal. When we have a belief that has emotions attached to it, it becomes real. And then our brain, there's actually a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. Our brain is looking for matches. And all of us have had this experience, like buying a new car or seeing something for the first time. And then all of a sudden, like if you want a pug, maybe your sister said to you, oh, Colter, I want to get a pug dog. All of a sudden, you'd be seeing pug dogs all over the place. Those pug dogs didn't just magically appear in your pathway. They've existed all the time, but you just didn't have focus on them. So what happens is when we have this limiting belief, all of a sudden we get matches to the limiting belief all over. And as Donna asked, So Donna, my guess is that the coworker may not have started the limiting belief, but they definitely can reinforce it. Usually we have something kind of simmering in there. Am I really worth this job? Am I really capable? So that's the confidence thing, Colter, that you mentioned earlier. So that confidence thing, if it's cracked, the limiting beliefs can just dive right in and take root, and the brain basically says, okay, we're going to find matches to people not believing what you have to say. We're going to find matches to I'm stupid and no one's going to pay attention to me. Or we're going to find matches to I'm no good unless I have a PhD. And all through our jobs or careers or lives, we see matches. And soon enough, we believe that this is indeed true. And you're not talking to women who have this for like a day. We're talking to women who have this for years.
For years.
Yes, indeed. So have you ever had a limiting belief?
I have had limiting beliefs.
And what are some of the things that you found that you're like, oh, I can't believe I think that?
Well, what's tough about those limiting beliefs is uncovering them. It's a journey to uncover them. It's a challenge to uncover them because they are a belief. And sometimes the belief, you've had it for so long, it's not even your belief. It's been given to you. You've carried it around. Since you were small, possibly.
Yes.
And when that light bulb goes off, like, holy crap, that's a limiting belief. It's a big deal because it's so hidden and it's so a part of you, and replaying that. Uncovering these limiting beliefs is about the limiting beliefs.
You know, when I was an executive, I had a limiting belief about starting my own company or being able to survive out there on my own. And I saw people do that over and over again. And I'm like, oh, that's just not for me. I'm an executive. I work for other people. I make other companies money. I do things for other companies. Like and you know what? That was 25 plus years of my career. So of course it's true, right? Even though it seems like, oh, well, why wouldn't you be able to do that if you have the confidence, the wherewithal to have a high level job? Why wouldn't you be able to do your own thing? I just had it in my head that this was not me. And so I told myself that for years until I finally got rid of that limiting belief. And like you said, peeling apart and uncovering the pieces to understanding it. So Amy, how can we uncover them? I think I have a way of not wanting to reveal what is truly the limiting belief. Yes. So why do we hang on to these limiting beliefs? Because we know them.
They're familiar.
Right. So that becomes what we would call the comfort zone. So maybe that's what we should say the C is, Colter, the comfort zone of limiting beliefs. And so we kind of like take up residence. It feels all warm and fuzzy. It keeps us from feeling something new. So Amy, what really happens is that this limiting belief protects us, doesn't really, but it convinces us that it's protecting us from reaching, from taking a risk, from looking stupid, from being revealed. And so these limiting beliefs just keep us stuck, small. And soon enough, we don't have the internal power and internal energy to break through them because the limiting belief now has the power over us. And one of the ways, Amy, you and I have worked together, one of the ways that we talk about identifying this is through journaling and self-discovery. But I will tell you, for many women, and this is why I'm here and why Colter's here to talk about this, it's not really possible to do this without proper professional advice and coaching, which is why so many people take the limiting belief and get hijacked by it, maybe for their entire lives, and don't ever live up to their potential. And some of the people, Colter, that you and I have spoken to on clarity calls and spoken about, and what's going on with what's really happening with them, are things that I can fix, things that my program is geared for. And as you know, even when that's the case, and yes, there's an investment to working with me, and that's the way it goes, they get fearful of changing.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, that fear becomes this big looming thing, and that excitement about doing something different smashes up against that brick wall. So that comfort zone is in clash with what their dreams are. Comfort zone, dream. What do they pick sometimes?
Comfort zone.
Yes. And then, the interesting thing is, as you know, Colter, when you're faced with that why in the road, when you have that opportunity to say yes to yourself or no to yourself, so many people choose the fear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, they're not necessarily getting the support from others. Right? Family comes at them, spouses. Oh, don't be such a dreamer. Your boss is okay. All bosses are bad. There's never going to be a place where you're going to be really, truly happy. Right? So limiting beliefs get reinforced by others. What are some of the things that you hear from the women you talk to about how the external world reinforces their limiting beliefs?
How the external world reinforces their limiting beliefs. Kind of, you've had these beliefs for so long that you have created the people around you that mirror back those beliefs to you. Mm-hmm. That's probably like one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
And where they are, their reflection of their outer world is a reflection of what's going on the inside. Their soul's ready to level up. They're fearful of doing attracting a different reality to them.
Yeah. And so they have to change their relationship to all these other people in their lives because they've changed their relationship with themselves. So all this has to get re-engineered, and that takes a lot of inner strength. So we have to go back to the confidence thing. The confidence has to be there,
right,
in order to crush through those limiting beliefs. And if it's not, there's usually not enough power. It is like, I have a post today, it is like an airplane taking off. And here's the thing about an airplane taking off. We think that an airplane is actually fighting gravity. We think that an airplane taking off is fighting gravity. Now, if it fought gravity, it actually would never take off. What it's doing is actually using gravity to take off. Because when we understand what gravity is and how much thrust we need to have that airplane take off, we're actually using gravity to do that. So if we use the power of our soul and the power of our own inner core values and life purpose to change our limiting beliefs, we can take off like an airplane. But if we fight against it, we're using all of our energy to fight against something. And that's why I think the whole idea of an airplane taking off, and if you don't know much about thrust and jet engines, you just could not imagine it could possibly happen. It's using the power of what we think is a very limiting thing. We think gravity is limiting. Gravity causes things to fall down, but we're actually using the power of it in an airplane. What's the third big thing, the big gremlin that we usually see on these clarity calls?
That they are so confused at their right career path. They're not enjoying where they are. They've been there for years. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to leverage their experience or expertise, and they feel stuck. So the confidence, the limiting beliefs, all kind of rolling together, and they are just confused on the right path. And the fear paralyzes them, and they're not living in this limitless possibility mindset. They don't feel their worthiness, their confidence, their greatness, and it keeps them stuck. It keeps them at this dead end and just really unhappy, confused on what direction to go. And they've lost that connection to their inner guidance. Feeling the confusion day in and day out, that's all they're feeling. They're not feeling to go within, to listen to their soul talking to them, asking them to tap into it.
So what's in charge of their life at that point?
Fear.
Yeah, the fear and the confusion.
So much fear.
They've been totally hijacked. And that basically, hey, Diane, and that basically is now what's conducting their life. So you've got a lack of confidence that causes us to play small. We've got these limiting beliefs, which are all these stories out there that some of them are things that we are totally telling ourselves, and some of the things that we're actually taking on from others. And then now we've got this confusion. I don't know about you, but if you ever were sitting at a red light or at a highway that's an exit and you're like not sure which one to take, like you're an unsafe driver that second. Like you're like, holy crap, do I turn right or left here? And like the traffic's rushing by and you've got to make a freaking decision. And if you're confused, you've got a very high accident rate. And you've got a very high rate of getting lost or doing something totally stupid. And unfortunately, and I know you've seen this in the clarity calls as well, I've seen it a lot in the aftermath. Sometimes when women get into the course, all of a sudden we have this, well, I quit this job because I didn't like X, Y, and Z. And what happened, they made a decision on confusion. And now their career has started to go on a downward trajectory because they've made career decisions not out of strategy, not out of strength, not out of purpose, but out of fear and confusion. And sometimes it's just absolute depleted energy that they're like, I just can't do this anymore. So they leave a job which otherwise may have been a great job. And to pick ourselves back up after that, that's like two airplanes taking off at the same time. There's a lot of thrust that we need to pack back in the soul in order to do that. But as you know, we've seen many women who have been unemployed for months get a job, land their dream job in less than 12 weeks, whereas they couldn't even get a job for months and months and months on end. They were confused. Am I really good at this? Why is no one calling me back? It must be something wrong with my LinkedIn profile. Maybe my resume needs to be better. And it's not about that, although we can tweak those things. But I've never, ever, ever seen someone who hasn't been able to get a job with once they get their soul together and their confidence built up and start rearranging and getting rid of their limiting beliefs and get super clear and their confusion goes away. That resume isn't sure, it's important, but it's not the problem. The problem is right in here. Right in here. And so when we have lack of confidence, limiting belief issues, and confusion, we're usually pointing the finger outside. And this is, I think, one of the critical parts of the work that you do on the clarity calls. Oh, Donna just left her job out of exhaustion and confusion. Yeah, it happens all the time. So what happens is that we're actually talking to someone to find the truth of what, Colter?
What their soul's trying to say, what they've been avoiding to
Yeah.
hear, past the fear and
Yeah.
to the place that their soul's been whispering at for a while. And by the time they get on the call, their soul's kind of screaming at this point.
Yes.
But they're stuck sometimes in their limiting beliefs. They're stuck in their stories. They're stuck in the familiarity of where they are.
Right, right. And then sometimes when we're talking to an otherwise professional, smart, eager woman, and they're saying, well, it's because of this boss or that boss. Oh, it's because this coworker and that coworker. And you know, because you've known me for all this time, the real answer is everything in our lives is a mirror to teach us something. Everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got a bad boss, chances are there's something going on in you that has brought that to you. Chances are there's something that needs to be cleared up in the inside that's causing that to be a mirror. And, you know, I know, Colter, in talking with you about the clarity calls that we both do, peeling back the layers can sometimes be a little bit of a painful process.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we want anyone to like cry for no reason, but oftentimes we're getting to a point where there's tears that are shed. And we're ready to hold that space because we've heard about just about everything.
We're ready to get real.
Absolutely. Because that's really the whole point. Without getting real, without really getting to the truth, there can't be any solution. Because the solution would be a fake answer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you and I always talk about this. We talk about how we're kind of like if they come to a doctor's office and they're like, hey, doc, my arm hurts. Well, the doctor doesn't look for the answer up their nose. The doctor is going to focus on the arm. And so we've got to ask a lot of questions about the arm. But you know what? The patient like, oh, that hurts. But you know what? I think I got something in my nose or something in my ear. Can you look over here? No, we're gonna stay on the arm because that's really where the problem is. And I know just in talking with folks, Colter, you and I have shared some of these things. We kind of have to keep people focused on what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy for the gremlin mind to want to go somewhere where it's not as painful. Take me away from this, Colter. I don't want to talk about this painful thing where I'm really fessing up that my career's not working and I've made some bad decisions and now I'm not playing at the level that I know I can play at.
If you don't own it, you won't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So sometimes when we get to the truth and when we get things rolling with a woman, they start to see little glimpses of a future that they've never really seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes after peeling back the layers, we can get a little insight as to what their true potential might be. And that's always a fun part of the call.
It is the fun part. Because we see the potential. We see
Yes.
what they bring to the table. But
Yes.
they've been years and years lacking confidence in the limiting beliefs that they need help seeing and feeling it.
Yes, yes. So as we wrap up, let's talk about how to know if these are your problems. Let's talk about some of the symptoms out there. So if you've got this in your career, it probably means a lack of confidence. If you've got this in your career, it probably means that you're buying into too many limiting beliefs. If you've got this in your career, it probably means that you're confused. Let's talk a little bit about some of those things. Someone's got a lack of confidence. What's really going on? What's showing up in their career? Let's kind of summarize that for everyone.
I think it's what they're telling themselves in their head. The gremlins are really strong, and pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Pay attention to the thoughts that are crossing your mind when you're in a meeting, things that you're not saying that you wish you could be saying. See if jealousy comes up, because if you're jealous of someone, it could be because you're not stepping up into what you could be doing.
Yeah. You know, there was a woman in the program recently who, in her lack of confidence, she was actually talking too much in meetings. And once she was able to gain basically her soul center, she began communicating much more purposefully. So when you have a lack of confidence, kind of to your point, you might be projecting other people's weaknesses or problems and pointing the finger out this way. But really it's the lack of confidence here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the biggest limiting beliefs I see often is this belief that my boss doesn't see how smart I am and I need to keep working really, really hard to prove that. So I guess I just kind of answered my question with that statement. But, you know, sometimes when we have limiting beliefs, what are we seeing people doing in their careers to overcome these limiting beliefs, but in a dysfunctional way? We're seeing overwork. What else are we seeing?
As in, like, they're blaming. Is that where you're?
Yeah. So they're working their ass off and getting nowhere. They're blaming others for not being recognized. Probably.
Yeah, and they're kind of rocking the victim card. That's kind of their MO at work. Poor me.
Victim.
Why me? Yeah.
Victim. The whole why me thing. Marissa, Colter's the best. I know, isn't she? Isn't she? So when we have limiting beliefs, oftentimes what we're doing is we're passing out that victim card. Boop, 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 boop. Not me, it's you. Not me, it's you. And underneath it all, there's this ingrained thing going, I'm not enough, and I hope they don't really see that. Let's talk about confusion. What do you see that shows up for people in their careers when they actually have too much confusion going on?
Too much confusion. They find themselves in the wrong job, and they've been there for years, so then they're just too scared to make a move from that job. A lot of the confusion is just not getting, all the confusion, not getting centered in really owning who you are, your natural gifts and talents, what you're good at, remembering your essence, and also remembering you can always leave a job. What makes you think that there's not another job out there that's perfectly fit for you? They get so stuck in their fear and I don't know what to do, that they don't do anything, and they forget.
Yeah.
They forget the possibilities of anything could happen. Networking.
Yeah. Right. And you're actually hitting on a couple of really key things that we oftentimes see, and that's an overabundance of loyalty. I just want to shake some people sometimes. Well, I've been here 15 years, and what would they do without me? Who cares? This is your career. So an overabundance of loyalty is a really, really big problem. If you're an overabundantly loyal person right now and you're in a career or a job that's not working for you, we need to talk, because you need some help getting off that hook, because that hook is like the hook of death. And you know what? There's someone in the program right now. She almost died because she was so stressed out at work. She was in the hospital for like a month. Then she was on disability and FMLA for another 3 months. Almost literally died from overdoing it at work and trying to prove her worth. And let's put it this way, folks, there's no loyalty worth your health. And probably before the health thing, there's not going out with friends anymore, because you don't want to be the woman who's like bitching to your friends, so you stop going out. Or maybe you're yelling at your kids and you're like, gosh, I shouldn't be yelling at my kids, but I can't help it. I got to yell at someone. So there's all this displaced aggression. So if you've got that stuff going on, ladies, if you've shut your friends off, or if you hear yourself being the one who's like bitching and moaning when you get together and you can't even take what you're saying, excessive loyalty. Let's talk. Let's get this taken care of. The other thing that we see, Colter, that I think you had someone recently that you talked about, that you talked to that had this particular problem with confusion. They try a little bit of this, a little bit of that to try to find some relief, in their career. Oh, I started a mini blog over here. Oh, I started doing essential oils over there. Oh, I think I'm going to start writing for a living. All good stuff. But if this is the antidote to feeling better about your job, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. There was thanks, Marissa. So Peggy says stuck and settling. Stuck and settling are you know what happens with stuck and settling? They equal something called you're in something else with an S that sounds like it. Then your career becomes that. Marissa, I can't love this enough. Thank you, Marissa. So we try all these things to try to get rid of the pain of the fact that our job sucks, and we're trying a little bit of this. I did that. I tried to be a screenwriter, and I spent 10 years doing screenwriting and going out to LA, and actually I was kind of good at it, but it was my way of putting the like a little bit of a, I don't know what the right word is. I was covering up my pain. There's no other word for it. I was covering up my pain. And let's just say that being a screenwriter and making a living in LA is a far stretch from being a healthcare executive. So there's no way I was going to replace my status or my compensation by being a screenwriter. Like, my chances were probably better to win the lottery. And you know what? There's a ton of people who are doing Mary Kay and doTERRA oils and all these other things, which frankly, there are people that make a lot of money, but they are high performing, high confident people with no limiting beliefs and no confusion. These are people who have passion, purpose, and personal power, and they are making crap happen out there. So if you're getting into doTERRA and Mary Kay because it feels good and it's taking the pressure off of you, it's not the stuff to build a successful multi-level marketing business on. You've got to be kick-ass first. So ladies, if you're in a job and in a career that doesn't feel right, you've got to get right with you first. Don't build another business. Don't try another career until you get right with you. Because then you're just going to build that business or that doTERRA oil thing on someone who doesn't have the inner strength, confidence, the positive beliefs, and the clarity. You don't want to build a business on that. I want you to build your doTERRA your doTERRA oil business on a platform of, I'm totally kick-ass. I have clarity. I have passion. I'm not afraid to reach out to 1,000 people a month to get 100 people signed up in my network, each selling their own doTERRA oils. That's how success looks there. So don't blame it on your career and be like, oh, I'm now going to do oils. If you have these things going on in your career that Colter and I are talking about, if you have the lack of confidence, if you have all these limiting beliefs and stories that are causing you to feel crappy about yourself, and if you have confusion, please don't invest in anything else except yourself, because that's the answer. That is totally the answer. Amy, I've been there trying outside things, hoping it will fix my issue of feeling empty. Bam! Amy, right on. That is exactly what's going on. And it happens all the time. And look, we women like connection. We want to feel good about who we are and what our contribution is. And sometimes when we get it wrong in the career, we think that doing those types of things is going to make us feel better. We got to get ourselves right. So book your clarity call. You know what? It's the end of the year. It's time to get your crap together, people. 2017, if that wasn't the year you got on track, if that wasn't the year that you built your confidence, if that wasn't the year that you crushed your limiting beliefs, if that wasn't the year where you got totally clear and said goodbye to confusion, then let's make 2018 that. Give yourself your own holiday gift. And let's get that clarity call. Colter, myself, and Tracy are we're not actually wide open. We got some slots next week. I actually just looked at our calendar, Colter. We do have some appointments available. But look, ladies, now is the time. Now is the time. And when you put off the decision to work on you, you're telling the universe, I'm not that important. And when you say I'm not that important to the universe, guess what happens? More limiting beliefs, more lack of confidence, and a whole lot more confusion. Colter, thanks for joining me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Real quick
Yeah.
about investing in yourself.
Yes.
The first time I ever invested in myself and what came back to me was tenfold. Was so amazing that I make it a point now every year to make an investment in myself, not in my education, not in a wardrobe, but in myself.
Mm-hmm.
What's worse is you invest in that next degree and you have it, and then you're still lost and confused. Excellent words.
I tell people from time to time, if my mother knew what I spend on coaching for myself, like she would, I don't know what she would do, but she would not have a good time. So, so I agree with you. I've been investing in myself. It'll be 18 years next year. In February of 2000, a friend of mine said, you're going to either kill someone or kill yourself with how frustrated you are in your job. Here's the name of a coach. And I'm like, what does that do? I said, I've been in therapy before. What does a coach do? A coach is going to help you navigate your career. And she did. She helped me see things in a totally different way. And this was almost 18 years ago when coaching wasn't what it is today. When I left my executive job, I got certified in coaching so that I could have the right pathway. Now, everything I do in my program is stuff I've done for myself to build my career. But when I get certified as a coach, I started to be able to put the pieces together in a way that is appropriate and professional for women to have the exact recipe. And I want to do a little shout out to Marissa. I don't know if you're still on this Facebook Live, Marissa, but you tickled me yesterday with your beautiful tweet of 12 weeks ago. She invested in the Kick-Ass program, and she is now living her whole life. WHOLE. And yeah, we take care of careers. We get careers on track. Hey, Marissa, you're totally a rock star. And what happens is that when you get focused on yourself to get your career on track, guess who becomes a better person? So there's a lot of kick-ass women walking around on this planet Earth. Yes, there you go. Everything can change in 12 weeks. Marissa, I don't know if you saw my email yesterday, but it's you inspired me to quote one of the Chinese proverbs that I love, and that is, what's the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time to plant a tree is now. So, Marissa, what was the best time to invest in your career? 12 weeks ago. Second best time, it's now. So, mofaul.com/strategy is where it all begins. Ladies, if you're not ready to have a heart-to-heart talk with a pro, with a career breakthrough strategist, or with myself, you're missing out. You're missing out on having that real talk with someone who knows how to support you through it, who can help you see things and then help you take action. Look, my work is not for everyone, but when it's right and the fit's there and Colter knows how to do that, then it is the perfect thing to get you where you want to go. Let's make the end of 2017 that year that you said yes to yourself. Yes, your clarity call was with Colter, Marissa, and your life has changed because of her. Rock on.
I was just a vessel. She did everything.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that the divine appointment. So we get into this obviously in the work that we do, but Colter and I come from the same page here. The divine appointment of your clarity call is like having this special universe put together conversation with someone who's going to care about you and open you up and see who you are and what's really going on and shepherd you to wonderful things. And it's December 15th, so we're 2 weeks left in the year. I'm super excited about it because we've changed hundreds of women's lives. And it's just been so much fun. We've got a lot more lives out there. There's probably thousands and thousands of people, Colter, that we need to get to who are not happy, who are miserable, yelling at their kids, being too loyal, working their asses off. Maybe they're not going to have time over the holidays. So let's get cracking. Colter, it's been fun talking with you and doing this Facebook Live, and we'll do this again. So ladies and gentlemen, let's keep a regular appointment here. You'll see Colter, you'll see Tracy. I have a coach who works with me, Jean Callahan. She and I are going to do one of these on Monday. Colter, guess what we're talking about on Monday? Job trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I almost added that to the top 3 today.
Yeah, right. So Jean and I are going to talk about that on Monday. Colter, have a great weekend. Thanks for helping change people's lives. Thanks for being the vehicle for Marissa to absolutely turn her life around. You're a rock star. Hey, Janine, woot woot, back at you, girl. Not girl. I got to start saying woman. Back at you, woman. I don't want to demean anyone into girl status. We were all once girls, but now we are strong, powerful women, and we're going to change the world. Oh, let me just say this for people still listening. On Thursday of next week, December 21st, I'm doing a special Lift the World meditation. We're going to get as many hearts and souls focused on positivity for the world so that we can change the world. It's winter solstice. It's technically the shortest day of the year here on the Northern Hemisphere. And we're going to use the power of that shift to change the consciousness of the planet. So that's the stuff that we do. Colter, have a kick-ass weekend yourself. Thanks for joining me. And we'll see everyone here again on the Coach Mo Facebook page. Let's kick ass.